So welcome to another episode of the Cultures Podcast, where we tackle interesting and relevant topics in the Filipino culture. Without further ado, let's dive into our topic for today's podcast, which we will be tackling toxic Filipino cultures. Alam ko makaka-relate kayo dito. Napaka-interesting ng topic
Lopos!
natin.
Toxic Filipino
Maganda,
culture
maganda.
talaga, topic natin for today.
Oh, toxic Filipino.
Baka abutin tayo more or less kalahating araw
Or
niya.
sila ka din. Grabe naman sa ating mga Pilipino. Parang mas
Nako,
sinasabi ang dami
promise.
nating toxic culture.
Oo, man.
Naku, cancel ka
Promise.
talaga niyan.
Cancel.
Oo, wag naman.
Cancel Genesis.
May point naman kayo although masyadong broad yung topic ng toxic Filipino cultures. Pero siguro mas magandang mag-focus na lang tayo sa isang area. Isa kasi sa mga nakikita kong toxic Filipino culture sa social media is yung pagka-cancel ng mga tao to one another. Yan, katulad nung ginawa ni Emman, di ba, kay Genesis. It is collectively known as cancel culture.
Grabe no.
Ayan, si Emman, no? Nangangansel.
Ay,
Toxic siguro
no,
yan.
Eman. Toxic
I
nga
don't
siguro
I agree.
yan.
to you.
Magandang topic nga yan, MJ. So let us focus on cancel culture, no? And how it affects the behavior of Generation C in cyberspace. So it is settled. Our topic for today is Uncensoring XXX, Xenophobia on Growing Xenogenic Approach of Gen Z, a prevalent enabler of toxic cityscape. So before we deep dive on cancel culture, no, i-define muna natin kung ano nga ba ang ibig sabihin ng cancel culture para sa mga hindi nakakaalam na viewers natin dyan. So para sa inyo ba guys, what is cancel culture based on your experiences in social media?
For me, siguro, yung cancel culture is more like elimination or dismissal. It's like when people team up to bring other people down dahil sa kanilang past and current mistakes, differences in opinions or views, or di kaya when they have done or said something na considered objectionable or offensive. Netizens could even trend something and cause commotions on social media, even without knowing the real story of every issue. In the most extreme cases pa nga, the people getting cancelled saw an end to their careers, di ba?
I agree. Gusto ko yung ginamit na word doon ni Trisha, yung dismissal. For me kasi cancel culture is disregarding or dismissal of eventual thoughts of an individual or the one being cancelled. Parang sa super relevance niya lately, parang lahat may level of insecurities na online, di ba? Uy, umamin. Pero bear with me, parang bawat galaw na lang ng mga tao may mga nampupuna. Although most nampupuna is yielding with knowledge and info naman talaga. Siyempre, consideration of delivery and consideration of potential trauma, especially as psych students, should be considered pa rin. Ano. Parang in a way tuloy, cancel culture kills the good vibes away na rin. Which is pangit kasi lalo para sa akin, gusto ko lang mag-enjoy ng buhay. Good vibes lang. To reiterate na lang din yung sinabi ni Trisha, it gatekeeps and restricts growth, change, and at times even authenticity of personality dahil lang sa standards na sineset ng cancel culture nito.
Tama, I agree. So while those definitions you guys have stated are true, no, and prevalent in the social media, may nabasa kasi yung article and I want to put a sense of objectivity sa podcast natin. And they define cancel culture by the New York Post. They define cancel culture as the phenomenon of promoting the canceling of people, brands, shows, and even movies due to what some consider to be offensive or problematic remarks and ideologies. And alam niyo ba guys yung history ng cancel culture? And it began kasi sa Western. Maraming tao na naniniwala. It started during 1991 in a movie entitled New Jack City. May scene kasi doon yung crime boss, which is called Nino Brown, inismash niya yung girlfriend niya sa isang table and binuhusan niya ng champagne sa ulo. And he stated na, cancel that bitch, I'll buy another one. And 5 years ago, I don't know guys if kilala nyo, si Lil Wayne, rapper sa Western country, ginamit niya ni-reference niya yung line na yon sa isa niyang in one of his songs sa album niya na I'm Single. And since napaka-influential ng mga rappers sa Western country, naging tinweet nila ito sa social media.
Ang angas, ang dami ko natutunan. So bali ang cancel culture pala sa Western countries talaga nag-originate. Paano naman siya umabot dito sa Asia, dito sa Pilipinas to be exact? Paano siya naging toxic Filipino culture?
Well, Eman, alam naman natin kung how Filipinos spend most of their time in the internet and social media. So alam mo yon, hindi na rin nakakapagtataka na na-adapt natin eventually yung culture na meron sila. And notwithstanding the fact na may pagka-colonial mentality din tayo talaga.
Yes, yes. MJ has a very good point. Kasi as far as I know, kahit sa Western nag-originate ang cancel culture, ang dami na rin nagka-cancel na Filipino celebrities sa social media. Lagpas na ata sa mga daliri ko sa kamay at daliri ko sa pap, sa dami ng mga na-cancel na Filipino celebrities. Alam niyo naman kasi ang mga Pinoy, pakiuso sa mga trending, lalo na pagdating sa social media without thinking rationally. Well, that's my
Event
opinion.
ko yan. Well, let's focus on the cancel culture that happened here in the Philippines. Alam niyo ba guys, yung nangyari issue sa interview ni Tony Gonzaga when she interviewed Bongbong Marcos in one of her YouTube videos, and then she was flooded with hate comments saying na she's an enabler, ganyan, because of the interview itself ha. Nagfa-fall rin pala siya under cancel culture as we know it.
Oo nga, grabe. Nakita ko rin yung Trisha. So, habang binabasa ko nga rin yung mga sa comment section sa YouTube, ang dami ko rin nakikitang ganun. As in literal na sobrang dami. Which I think it is the negative side of cancel culture. Since ini-invalidate niya natin siya just because of that video na different yung point of view niya sa perspective natin. Although hindi ko naman sinasabi na tama rin si Miss Tony, pero I just want to highlight that it is wrong that to immediately cancel a person because of different political view, which I think is very toxic. So guys, mga ano yung ideas nyo about this?
Ako na una siguro. Ako personally, if I'm given the channel platform to express myself, wow, vloggerist yarn. We should do it modestly, keeping in mind how we can easily influence other people's thoughts. Isa pa syempre as receivers of information naman, we should also learn to remember that one video cannot justify a particular scenario. Cancel culture kasi, it does not give the person the chance to learn from their mistake. Instead, the person is immediately labeled as bad. Generally speaking not only on Tony's issue, it teaches us one thing. We should learn to not rest onto our emotions, but instead on our knowledge. Knowledge on our surroundings, and of course, part of this knowledge will be our attitude and personality on dealing with things.
Yes, I absolutely agree with the idea of Emman. So grabe pala yung effect ng cancel culture sa isang tao, no? Like isang mali mo lang, pwede ka na agad ma-invalidate sa cyberspace by the majority of the people. And since malawak naman ang cancel culture, alam nyo rin ba guys yung nag-trend ngayon na mga tao na nga-unfriend daw sa FB, friends nila, when they found out na magkaiba daw sila ng political views at sinusuportahang presidential candidate ngayong nalalapit na election. Like nanga-unfriend sila, nagbo-block ganun. So kayo guys, what's your take on that particular issue about sa pag-cancel or pag-unfriend ng mga FB friends?
For me, actually, di ba our lives revolve on social media already na. So, I think most of our connections and relationships were breached by social media na rin. Kaya we can say that it definitely matters. Yung simpleng hindi nga pag-accept ng friend request or pag-follow back sa atin ng friends natin, di ba, nakaka-frustrate pag minsan. What more pa kaya yung pag-unfriend or pag-block sa atin due to differences in our political views? It's like cancel culture is implying that we are not open to learning from people with different views from ours. It's like, cancel culture doesn't allow people to have productive conversations and it pushes them to have a silo way of thinking na nag-empower lang sa ignorance.
Yes, I agree no. Ikaw naman MJ, anong opinion mo about sa issue na ito?
Yeah, my point si Trisha. Actually, ang dami ko nakikita online na we are saying that politics is personal, na your political views are a reflection of your character, which is for me, totoo naman. However, unfriending or canceling someone is not an end-all be-all solution. Although, I admit before na kapag nakakakita ako ng mga friends sa social media dati na hindi align yung paniniwala nila sa akin, the first thing na pumapasok sa utak ko is to cut ties with them. Pero ngayon, na-realize ko na hindi pala dapat, na instead of doing that, we should try to spark conversation with them, engage them in a healthy discussion first. Maging open tayo sa opinion ng isa't isa.
True. Ako rin, I disagree with people who unfriend or cancel someone they know. Kasi I have watched this particular video where he thoroughly explained kung bakit blocking someone in the social media is dangerous. Kasi yung pag-cut off daw ng isang tao, just because meron kayong different kind of political views, is like an act of dictatorship. For example, si Hitler ba guys, kilala nyo? Isang sikat na diktador. Kilala nyo ba yon?
Yes.
Diba nagpapatay siya ng maraming Jews because they have different ideology from them and he feel prejudices. So, although hindi naman ganito yung ka-extreme yung nangyayari ngayon sa social media, can you guys see the connection? Kasi the people who block others on the internet and dictators have ideologies that don't want to be contested. Like the purpose kasi why people block or unfriend others, because they want to build a world in the cyberspace na ideology lang yung meron nila. So, and then when we expose ourselves sa isang paniniwala lang, that is dangerous kasi it can lead to ethnocentrism or egocentrism, which is bad for our country.
Yes.
Over the
Ayan.
bakod na talaga yung friend.
Ayan.
True.
Ayan, since we have established the definition of cancel culture, yung history niya, and the different effects that it brings in cyberspace, and we even cited specific situations when cancel culture happened. Kayo ba? What is your overall evaluation of cancel culture? In general, does it bring positive or negative effects?
From the definitions pa lang, it is evident na how cancel culture brings nothing but harm. Imagine parang nagiging field of judgment yung social media. Pwede natin i-treat tuloy as parang PBB. Familiar naman lahat, di ba? Nanonominate or i-evict whomever is yung believed na mali or pangit yung ugali without considerations of growth, demographics, and discourse. But it goes beyond this, especially since ang cancel culture affects individuals of a nation, of a much, much bigger scale. And of course, not just a show, So much red flags for this one, and I believe that there are a lot more other ways to correct someone. Add ko na lang din, through dito sa talk natin, napatunayan ko na at least at present time, no one else really cares about you. You and yourself lang talaga in this world. And so we must strive to be responsible individuals of holistic growth in order to stop this stigma.
Agree ako sa mga sinabi nyo, no? But since paubos na time natin, ano ba sa tingin nyo yung root cause ng negative effect ng cancel culture? And how will we mitigate, if not solve entirely, the cancel culture? May mga ideas or suggestions ba kayo sa pwedeng makatulong para rin sa mga viewers natin para alam nila yung gagawin?
For me lang the possible
Okay.
root cause of canceling culture is that it is within the mindset of the person. Siguro familiar naman kayo sa traditional na toxic culture ng crab mentality. Am I right, di ba?
Yes, crab
Wow,
mentality.
may
Yes.
historical impact in traditional. Kasi evident naman siya, di ba? Matagal na yung crab mentality na nag-exist dito. And this is basically the jealousy of the attainment of a successful person. They want them down or hilahin pababa, and should I say cancel. That's why they tend to cancel a product, person, or invalidate the opinion of others. But I think there is a way that we can stop this culture, and it will require all of us. The next time that someone is being canceled for anything they've done, then in your own life, discover means to confront or oppose that problem in a manner that you will have a healthy conversation. Because everyone should be given an opportunity to learn, grow from their error.
Yes, no. Instead of canceling other people, we should just call out them for their wrongdoings and enable them to reflect on their own actions and mistakes.
Yes.
There's no cure for cancel culture. Para mawala ang cancel culture, need natin itong i-cancel. Let's cancel the cancel culture and let's just call out other people and teach them from their mistakes.
Yes.
And since patapos na nga tayo, Trisha, do you have some closing remarks for our podcast? May mga natutunan ka ba?
Our opinions definitely matter. Kasi we humans make mistakes, but these mistakes or disagreements are not the sole basis of our personalities and are not a way for people to criticize, harm, or hate us in any shape or form possible. Because each and every one of us has so much capacity to grow, and making mistakes teach us that. Definitely, we must always remember that the moment we stop treating an individual who has done wrong as perpetually untreatable and unchangeable, it is the moment where we'll be able to take the next step in preventing these things from happening again.
Yes. So, that would be the end of our podcast, guys. It is a shame.
Dami ka pang gustong sabihin.
Yeah, kahit ako rin It is a shame na kailangan na natin to i-conclude kasi mukhang ang dami pa natin gustong sabihin about sa toxic Filipino cultures. But, nevertheless, maraming salamat sa inyo guys for your wonderful insights and sa mga tagapakinig natin, no? Sana may natutunan kayo. So, before formally closing this podcast, here is a food for thought for all of us. No one is without flaw. We all have different things in the past that we regret. So, before we cancel other people, make sure that we are flawless. Right? So, until the next episode, and sana makasama ko pa rin kayo. Bye guys!
Bye!